Let's see how Studio Sound copes with a recording taken straight on my phone next to a busy road.
Now let's see how Studio Sound copes in a pub with music going on in the background and lots of noise. I'm just using my laptop and the standard inbuilt microphone.
I'm a bit of an amateur podcaster. My content is all about leadership and coaching. But along the way, because I don't have a team around me to help me with podcasting, I've had to learn all of the technicals for myself. One of the things that I couldn't do without is Descript Studio Sound. I do all of my editing in Descript and I'm doing a range of tutorials, and I wanted to focus on Studio Sound because getting the audio right is so important for podcasts. And while I'm recording here today, as I usually do at home, I don't have a professional studio at home, so I rely on Studio Sound to help me take out some of the echo and reverb and maybe the background hum or the occasional clunk when I accidentally hit the desk, and it's really good for that. But I wanted to stress test it in some really difficult environments and see just how good it is, as well as basically showing you how to use it, how to switch it on and how to dial it up and dial it down. This is part of a series of tutorials that I'm doing on Descript and part of a series that are focusing on Studio Sound. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you catch those when they drop. Some of the other Studio Sound tutorials I'm going to do are going to focus on a common issue that comes up, which is the dreaded robotic echo that people sometimes experience. It is so simple to fix, so make sure you watch that one. The other thing that always comes up that people talk about is AI credit economy. When you use Studio Sound, it uses AI credits. Now, there's a way that you can be really clever and minimize the amount of AI credits that you use. So I'm going to cover that as well. But for today, it's all about stress testing just how good Studio Sound is. So for this test, I've pre-recorded 2 short clips while out and about in noisy environments. I've already uploaded them into a project and laid them up ready to apply Studio Sound. Now, I will do some basic Descript tutorials to show you how to set up projects and upload videos, but I'm assuming that if you're interested in Studio Sound, you've probably already mastered the basics, so I'll come back and do those another time. Right, let's see how they sound in their raw versions.
Let's see how Studio Sound copes with a recording taken straight on my phone next to a busy road. I've got no special microphones. I'm interested to see whether it makes me clear and how much it reduces all of the background noise. Let's see how it goes.
Not too bad.
Now let's see how Studio Sound copes in a pub with music going on in the background.
So I sound pretty clear in both, but there's clearly a lot
using my laptop
going on in the
standard inbuilt microphone.
Right, so the first thing that we do, it's quite simple, is to go into the AI tools, because Studio Sound is an AI tool, and there it is, Studio Sound. Now when I apply this, you're going to see it comes up with 2 remaining. It just glanced on the screen there briefly. The reason it says 2 is because these are 2 separate audio clips. One of the things that you need to know about Studio Sound is that as an AI feature, it costs 10 credits each time you use it. I've just used it twice, so that cost me 20 credits for what is only a 25-second clip. That's not great value for money, but it's clear just because I'm showing you as an experiment. If you apply Studio Sound to a clip that's an hour long, well, that's only one use. That's only 10 credits. There's ways that you can use the system to make sure you're minimizing your AI credit use, and I'm going to talk about that a lot more in another video. Anyway, for now, I've applied Studio Sound. Right, let's see what difference Studio Sound has made. I'm going to leave it on the default setting, which I think we're going to have to play around with because these are really difficult conditions, but let's see how it copes.
Let's see how Studio Sound copes with a recording taken straight on my phone.
Still some traffic noise going on there.
Busy road. I've got no special
Don't worry, there's an adjustment we can make.
See whether it makes me
let it play on and hear
how
what
much
the pub's like.
Now let's see how Studio Sound
Not really
copes
coping
in
at all
a
with
pub
the pub.
with music going on in the background and
All
lots
of
of
the
noise. Just using my laptop
and now we've got the dreaded echo. Don't worry, that's also very fixable. This is a real big stress test, so this is not like your normal studio where you're just trying to get rid of a bit of background hum. And bear with me because I think we can improve it. I'm going to start with the traffic noise one. Now, Studio Sound has an intensity option. And it says intensity and it's got a percentage there. It's a bit misleading. It's not really about an intensity because from a technical point of view, Studio Sound doesn't actually edit and amend your audio track. What it does is it creates an entirely new separate AI improved audio track, and then you've got a slider to balance between your original and the new track. And if you slide it all the way down to 0, then you don't get any of the AI improvement at all.
Let's see how Studio Sound copes with a recording.
But if you slide it all the way up to 100%, you get the entirely AI improved track. Now I reckon this is going to kill the background noise.
Recording taken straight on my phone next to a busy road.
Perfect.
No special microphones. I'm interested to...
So that's killed the background noise. So you might be thinking, why doesn't it automatically dial it all the way up to 100% anyway? The reason is it has slightly changed my voice. And in some cases, it can make you sound a little bit robotic. Now, I can tell it's changed my voice because it's my voice and I can immediately hear it. If you didn't know what I sounded like normally, it's still a very human and natural sounding voice.
To see whether it makes me clear and how much it reduces all of the background noise.
So in a really noisy environment like that, it's worth dialing it all the way up to 100% straight away. No one's going to know the difference really, and it still sounds really good. In a less challenging environment, you'd probably want to dial it down to somewhere between 50 and 70%, so you retain a lot of your original sound and tone whilst getting rid of the lower level hums and background noises. So that's really good in the traffic environment. Now, let's go back to the pub because this is where it's going to be really struggling. And I think because this is a separate track, it won't have adjusted it yet. We're still on 70%. So I'm going to start with the original.
Now let's see how Studio Sound copes in a pub.
Lots of music and I'm echoing. Let's give you what the default 70% would be.
A pub with music going on in the background and lots of noise.
Adjusted the
Just using my laptop and the standard inbuilt microphone.
It's adjusted the natural echo a little bit. I don't know if you could hear that, but then what it's put in is there's a sync issue there where it's gone out of sync with my voice. Now there's a way that you can fix that sync issue. I'm going to do a separate tutorial on that. It's really not complicated, but it's a separate issue, so we'll cover that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and I'll show you how to get those audio tracks back in alignment, because again, it's where you've got the original and the new one and they're just not quite in alignment. But because I've still got the background music, that's not going to help anyway. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to dial this up to 100% and let's see if it manages to kill the music at 100%.
Now let's see how Studio Sound copes in a pub with music going on in the background and lots of noise.
It's killed the
Just
audio
using
in the
my laptop
background, the
and the
music,
standard inbuilt microphone.
but I now do sound quite robotic. It's having to work very hard because of
Now
the
let's
amount.
see how Studio Sound copes
The
in
amount of
a
competing
pub with
noise.
music going on in the background and lots of noise. Just using my laptop and the standard inbuilt microphone.
Okay, so that could be good enough to save you from catastrophe if you've got a really poor track with lots of background noise. But at the end of the day, come on, this isn't magic. Preparation is important as well. You can't just rock up into a massively noisy environment and expect miracles. And as I said, when you're in other kinds of environments, particularly if you're just in a home situation where you're trying to get rid of a bit of echo, Studio Sound is fantastic. So here it is again on the traffic noise, so you can really see the difference.
Let's see how Studio Sound copes with a recording taken straight on my phone
That's
next
with it
to a
off.
busy road. I've got no special microphones. I'm interested to
That's
see
with
whether
it
it
on
makes me
100%.
clear and how much it reduces all of the background noise.
So that's Studio Sound tested under stress. I've got just a little bit more advice for you about how you can avoid that stress in the first place. But first of all, let me remind you that Descript is the place that I do all of my editing, and it's the place you should do all of your editing. My affiliate link is in the notes. If you use my link, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps support the program. So please use that link and check out Descript for free, or you can upgrade to the hobbyist or the creator plan for more features. Check it out now. Okay, how do you avoid the stress in the first place? Well, let's be honest, you could just choose not to record in very noisy environments. If you can find a way of recording on site where you don't have all of that background noise, that's fantastic. Or if you can record in a studio which is properly treated, or just where you can make sure there's no other background noise going on, that is, of course, the best you can do. The other thing that you can do is to invest in better equipment. Now, we don't all have limitless budgets and we have to be careful about how much we spend, particularly if you're an amateur like me. It was worth investing in a decent microphone for me because I do a lot of recording at home, and that's made a real difference to my initial audio tracks. If you can't do that, then you can use your microphone on your laptop, but that's when you need to use Studio Sound and maybe try and think about how else you could control the environment. If you're out and about, you can get unidirectional microphones and you can use wind mufflers and things like that to reduce some of the background noise as well. All of those things give you the best initial recording, and then you can use Studio Sound maybe to a lower level just to dial in or dial out anything that you couldn't eliminate at the source. Preparation, as always, is everything. I hope you found this really useful. There's going to be plenty more tutorials on Studio Sound and all other kinds of features that you can see in Descript. So make sure you subscribe to the channel now. And if you found it useful, share it with someone else that you know who's struggling with their audio.